anyone remember the surah of the last week? What was the surah? Okay, perfect. Because I forgot what was I completely forgot what the surah. Seriously, I wallahi forgot.
I was editing Surah Layl and oh, this is the Surah.
Yeah, I was confused. I thought it might be Al-Layl. Surah Al-Fajr wa Layalin Ashr wa Shafa wal Watr. Anything that you have, any comment? Anything that you want to share with us about the surah last week?
Beautiful satisfaction for oppressed and oppressors. Like fear for oppressors and very, very deep satisfaction for oppressors. Very, very satisfactory. If Allah says, we are at rest.
This surah is amazing. Surah Al-Fajr that we covered last week. It's that surah that, it speaks, if you look at it from outside, if you go outside the box and look at the verses of the surah, you can definitely say that Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to do two things. The first thing is reflect on Allah's creation, the knowledge. You won't be able to see Allah Azza wa Jal and believe in Allah Azza wa Jal unless you study the creation of Allah. Because each and every creation of Allah Azza wa Jal points towards Allah Azza wa Jal. The effects that you see in this nature will lead you to Allah. The effects of corona that you see makes you believe that there's something called corona and makes you take precautions so that you're not infected by corona, even though you didn't see corona itself. The same, Allah Azza wa Jalla wants you to go in this earth, look at the heaven, look at the skies, look at the different galaxies, look at the earth and how it was done, and that will lead you towards believing in Allah Azza wa Jal, because you will see the effects of Allah Azza wa Jal. And secondly, Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to look at the history, study the history. So not only Allah Azza wa Jal wants us to walk in the earth and move in the earth, وَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ ثُمَّ انظُرُوا كَيْفَ بَدَأَ الْخَلْقِ, and then try to discover and try to seek and try to know how Allah Azza wa Jal has created the creation. ثُمَّ انظُرُوا كَيْفَ بَدَأَ الْخَلْقِ, how it started. It's an ayah that encouraged the Muslim to study astronomy, to start geology, to start studying everything that makes him understand how this creation happened, how the earth came into life, what makes the earth a planet where people can live on, how Allah Azza wa Jal created these galaxies. Allah wants you to study, to make that study. Allah wants you to walk on this earth and study how He created everything. And Allah Azza wa Jal wants you also, in order to reach Allah, in order to believe in Allah, Allah wants you also, قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ ثُمَّ انظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ. Walk in the earth also in another verse and look at what Allah Azza wa Jal has done for the for the nations who used to live before you. Study the history, and when you study the history of different nations that used to live on this earth, you will come closer to believing in Allah Azza wa Jal. So this surah, Surah Al-Fajr that we spoke about, it's all about study the universe, you will see Allah Azza wa Jal, and you will believe in Allah. And study the history, you will come closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. And now that you study history, you will understand that in few years you're gone. 80, 100 years, you are gone. And all the power and all the authority and all the wealth and everything that you have is gone. And what's going to left is the good deeds that you've done. And that's why Allah Azza wa Jal towards the end started to encourage you to give. Look after the orphans and the weak ones. Towards the end of the surah, Allah is encouraging you to be among those who give and do charity and look after others and share with others. Because that's what Allah Azza wa Jal wants the Muslim to do. Now this is the surah number 11 that was revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We're still at the beginning. And by the way, the surah number 11 that was revealed, so this is the number 11 time that Jibreel comes down with a wahi, with the revelation from Allah to Muhammad. And the surah also is only 11 verses. So the 11th time, 11 verses, and the surah is Surah Duhaa. And in order to understand this surah, you have to look at the circumstances at the time when this surah was revealed. Firstly, Muhammad, peace be upon him, was sick. So Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, at the the last 2 or 3 days before the revelation of this surah, he was sick to the extent that he couldn't pray for his Lord the prayers that he usually used to pray at night. And secondly, Jibreel stopped coming to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They say for roughly 6 months. It's not the first or the last time that Jibreel stops coming without a notice to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he's going to stop. Now Muhammad, peace be upon him, that Jibreel stopped coming after a few weeks. Remember, this is the human part of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He started to ask the normal questions that anyone would ask. You know, if your friend Amir, one of your close friends, stops calling you suddenly, what would you think? There's something wrong. Maybe this guy doesn't like me. Maybe this guy doesn't like to hang around with me anymore. Maybe this guy hates me for something that I've done for him. Maybe I'm not worthy of the friendship of that friend. He's not calling anymore. He's not asking about me. And it's been long. It's been long and this guy has never ever picked the phone to call me. I want him to come. I love him. But he's not approaching me. Maybe he doesn't love me anymore. He doesn't like me anymore. He doesn't like to hang out with me. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, these thoughts started to come to him. Maybe I'm not worthy of Allah's love. Maybe I've done something wrong that made Allah Azza wa Jal not pleased to the extent that he stopped Jibreel from coming down. Maybe I'm not worthy of the wahi and the revelation coming to me. I'm not the right man. I'm not worthy of the wahi being revealed to me. I'm not worthy of being one of the prophets and the messengers of Allah Azza wa Jal. Normal thoughts that came to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam once Jibreel stopped coming to him. People in Mecca started to notice these first signs of anxiety that were there inside the hearts and the brain of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. To the extent that even the mushrikeen started to notice and see that there's something happening. And they started to know that the wahi, the revelation, stopped coming. And Jibreel, the angel that used to come to Muhammad and bring the wahi and the Quran from Allah, it stopped coming to Muhammad. Now there's the good ones who will stand beside Amir, saying, man, don't worry about it. You're good. There's nothing wrong. Just speak to your friend. Be good. Have good thoughts about your friend. There's no need to doubt yourself, ya Amir. You're a good man. Anyone would love to be with you. And there's people who would add fire to the wood, wood to the fire that Amir has already. Yeah, you're not worthy of the friendship of X. Man, your company is the worst. So Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Jamil, we remember now from Surah Al-Masad, she's the wife of Abu Lahab, the father of the flames, the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So she came to Muhammad and she was happy. Now that she saw the signs of anxiety on the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam and that Jibreel is not coming down, no more Quran is recited in Mecca by Muhammad and his followers. She went to Muhammad and she said, oh man, you Satan, she meant Jibreel, the angel, abandoned you. You've been even the Satan that used to come down with Quran to you, that even Satan that dislikes you, Ya Muhammad. Not only us, your family and your tribe, but even the one who was revealing Quran to you, he dislikes you. At this time, Jibreel came down with this surah. So this surah was revealed when Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was tested. What was the test? No Quran, no Jibreel. You know what's no Quran, no Jibreel for Muhammad? It's worse than no toilet papers at Woolies today. For Muhammad, the Quran is everything. See the toilet papers, how people now are killing, and someone was stabbed in one of the convenience stores for toilet papers. How people are, running towards the food and these are, by the way, people are doing the natural thing. It's a natural thing. We need things for our bodies, in order to live. I need rice and pasta, and that's why people go we're facing an economic crisis, and Corona is coming, maybe a complete lockdown, and it's time to have more rice, like 20 kilos of rice, just in case something happens. Why? Because rice is important for our bodies. Without rice, without meat, without food, we might die. And for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, no Quran means death for him. Muhammad doesn't care about what people normally care about. He cares about his heart. And his heart would definitely die if the Quran stops. That's how important the Quran is in the life of the Muslim. We won't die if there is no toilet paper. But wallahi, you're going to be dead if there is no Quran in your heart. If there's no Quran in your house. If there's no Quran in the life of your kids. If there's no Quran recited, even if you do not understand what's being recited on your laptop, when you just get your wife every day in the morning while we're eating and we do not understand what's happening or what the Sheikh is saying, just the fact that there's Quran recited in your house, that will bring life to you. Now Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, after the people came to him with negative feedback and Quraysh started to attack him, Jibreel came down with Duhaa. What's the Duhaa? The surah starts by an oath from Allah Azza wa Jal, and the oath is by the morning brightness. The Duhaa is this time of the day. It's exactly 20 minutes after the sunrise. Roughly 15 to 20 minutes after the sunrise, that's the time of the Duhaa. That's the beginning of the day. The clear message from Allah Azza wa Jal to Muhammad is, at the end of the tunnel of trials and exams, you will see the light, Ya Muhammad. Just walk. At the end of the tunnel of any test or any trial by Allah Azza wa Jal, you will see the light. Be optimistic, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The beginning of the surah is the brightness or the brightest time of the day. It's the Duha time. And it's telling Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, be optimistic. After the dark days that you went through, the dark 6 months of no revelation, the dark trial that you've been through, you will see the light in this life before the hereafter. It means be optimistic. It means no matter what you face in this life, if you keep walking at the end of the tunnel of any trial in this life, you will see the light. وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى is the night. And Allah Azza wa Jal is making an oath by the night. But now Allah Azza wa Jal is not speaking the same like when He spoke about the day. Allah didn't mention the whole day. Allah mentioned the specific time of the day. After 20 minutes from the sunrise, the sun is at its brightest, the beginning of the day, everyone is full of energy. And Allah now is speaking about the opposite, the complete opposite, which is a night when it covers with darkness, and it means in the depth of the night. When we say al-bahru saj in Arabic, the sea is saj, means quiet. Means there's no waves, there's no movement. Means it's completely quiet to the extent that the sea, there's no wind, there's no waves, there's nothing other than complete calmness. So Allah is making an oath with the night, and especially the time of the night where people are quiet. You know, the first message is that if you have an anxiety, be optimistic. The light is coming. And the second message to Muhammad is, if you have an anxiety about anything, when the night has covered with its darkness and people are calm, come to me. And that anxiety will go. When everyone is quiet, get up, Ya Muhammad, and make supplications to me. تَتَجَافَى جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ. Allah described the believers. If you are not sleeping, and it happens to me lots of times, especially when you go back from work, you're too tired. You know, they call it jet lag. When you're too tired and your legs hurt you, and you've been working at doing lots of jobs during the day, and then sometimes you go to sleep after 2 hours, you're awake. And then you go again into sleep. And then after 1 or 2 hours, you get up again. Make dua for Allah Azza wa Jal. يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ. This is the time, if Allah Azza wa Jal gives you this opportunity to get up in the middle of the night, just make dua. Remember to speak to Allah Azza wa Jal. Make dua to Allah. Speak to Allah Azza wa Jal. Especially in this time where everything is calm. No one is speaking. No one is making anything. But you are different. You are special. You are with Allah Azza wa Jal, making dua and making supplications to Allah Azza wa Jal. So the surah starts by the brightness of the day. At the end of the trial, you will see the light, Ya Muhammad. The message is, going through Corona, yes, the light is coming. Be optimistic. Do not spread fear. The future and what's going to happen tomorrow. Speak, yes, about the precautions that we have to take. Speak about the economic crisis that we're in, but speak also in a positive way that we expect, inshallah, in the coming few years, things are going to be better. Be optimistic. وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. And during the night time, when it's quiet, we turn back to Allah Azza wa Jal. Now we've understood that when Allah Azza wa Jal makes an oath by something, it means first that Allah wants to emphasize. Allah wants to drag your attention in order to reflect on what He's spoken about, which is Duhaa. It's one of the miracles of Allah Azza wa Jal. That this duha happens, that this light that we see, the bright light that we see, it's one of the miracles. If you try to study how it happens and study the atmosphere and study the distance between the earth and the sun, and you study the particles of the air that we have in our atmosphere, and if you study everything, you will be really overwhelmed by the amount of knowledge. Like the scholars, maybe 200 years ago, they said in order to have life on one of the planets, you need 4 elements. So if you have 4 elements, you can have life. And then after a few other years, decades, they came up and they said, no, you need 20 elements. And then after another 10 years, you need actually 100 factors come together in order to have life on a certain planet. And then after a few other years, no, you need thousands of elements and things and factors to come all together in order to have a life on a certain planet. It's not only about the right distance between that planet and one star. It's not about the orbit that it takes. It's not about the gravity that you have. It's not that simple to have a life on a planet. It needs thousands of factors that Allah Azza wa Jal factored in order to have this earth a place where we can live on. So Allah wants you to reflect. When Allah makes an oath by something, Allah wants you to reflect on this. He emphasized the importance of that time, the importance of reflection on the miracle of that time, that it happens each and every day. And secondly, وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى, the miracle of having the opposite thing, like in this life. The opposite of anything usually is something bad. The opposite of being kind is something bad. Usually people look at the night, even the night, they look at it usually in a negative way. The night means darkness, means fear, means people might steal me, hit me, take my money. Allah Azza wa Jal is grabbing your attention and wants to emphasize on the importance of night. Because this night is for you to calm down. Without you calming down, you won't be able to see the brightness of the day, the second day. Without you having this night, you won't be able to enjoy the day. And without having the day, you won't be able to enjoy the night. So these are miracles that Allah Azza wa Jal is making an oath by, and then Allah comes to Jawab al-Qasam, and what we say, what Allah Azza wa Jal is making an oath about. What did Allah Azza wa Jal make an oath about? مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Now this is for Jamil and each and every one of the bad ones who used to live in Mecca at that time. Allah didn't make wada' for you. Wada' in Arabic is like me and Amir saying wada' to Ahmed Basal when he left and went to Adelaide. Did you have any ill feelings towards Ahmed? No. Wada' is to say bye. Goodbye Ahmed, see you soon. on good terms. Did you want him to leave? No, you didn't. You wanted him to stay. You love him. So Allah Azza wa Jal is telling Muhammad and each one who follows the steps of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah won't even leave you, Ya Muhammad, on good terms. Allah is there, looking after you, providing you, guiding you, supporting you, guarding you. Allah Azza wa Jal is with you in each and every step that you are making. So even the wada', even to leave you, Ya Muhammad, on good terms, is not going to happen. I'm going to be with you. Allah Azza wa Jal is telling Muhammad that I'm going to be with you in each and every step that you are taking. They said, your God abandoned you. No. Your God won't even leave you on good terms, on your own, Ya Muhammad. Your God is always with you in each and every step that you're making. وَمَا قَلَى, and qala is to leave someone on bad terms. With, when you have this not love, the opposite of love, hatred in your heart towards someone and you're leaving him. Usually it's hard for you to reunite again. So if you leave someone on good terms, when you see each other after that, you get to be happy to see the one that you made wada' for. But when it comes to qala, if you leave someone, a relationship, and when you left that relationship, it was left based on hatred, usually that hatred will increase over time. It won't decrease. Allah Azza wa Jalla is telling Muhammad, Allah didn't even leave you on bad terms. Allah does not hate you, Ya Muhammad. Allah won't leave you while He's loving you, because Allah is with you in each and every step that you're making. And this is for us, this is for you. Akhi, Allah is with me in each and every step. Without Allah, my body would collapse. What's holding my body is not the bones and the muscle. Wallahi, without Allah being with us in each and every second of our life, this universe would collapse. Completely collapse. Allah is with you. And Allah won't leave you even on bad terms, Ya Muhammad. And now look at the beauty. When Allah spoke to Muhammad, Allah said, وَدَّعَكْ. You know this kaf? It's a noun. This kaf that comes here, it's a noun. Means Allah won't leave you on good terms. Ya Muhammad, O Muhammad. This kaf is a noun that returns back to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَمَا قَلَاكَ. Normally it would say قَلَاكَ. Means another noun that's for Muhammad, because Allah is speaking to Muhammad. But Allah didn't want to put a noun that speaks about Muhammad or returns back to Muhammad with this word, because this word has a bad meaning. Even though Allah is saying Allah did not leave you on bad terms, Allah Azza wa Jal didn't add the noun to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imagine the love of Allah for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at the way Allah is speaking, and this is wallahi, it's a lesson for us. So Allah, when He's speaking to one of His prophets and messengers, He made sure that He didn't add a noun that refers to that prophet or messenger to a word that has a bad meaning. Even though Allah before that word said that I did not leave you on bad terms. But Allah didn't want to add this noun. Look at the way we speak to each other, guys. Allah, when He's speaking to one of the human beings, one of the prophets that He sent, Allah is not mentioning the noun that's related to Him close to a bad word out of love. Sometimes when we speak to our partners, sometimes when we speak to our kids, make sure that you never put any bad thing related with your son's name. You never say to your son, any bad thing and then relate his name to it. You mention the action. You might mention the action that he's done, but you never link that action to his name. So you might say that telling the truth is very important. Lying is very bad. But you never say to your son, you might have lied or you are a liar. You do not link the bad action to your son. Because if your son is just a liar in your eyes, and you've linked him to that bad thing which is lying, believe me, he's going to be a liar. If you frame him If you frame him by being a liar, he will be a liar. And if you are really sensible in the way that you speak to him, if you care about him, if you really love him, you will make sure that you never mention a noun or his name related or with any bad thing that he's done, because out of love, you don't want him to feel bad about what you say. So Allah Azza wa Jal is making an oath by two things: brightest time of the day and by the time of the night when it's quiet. And then Allah Azza wa Jal says, I did not leave you on good terms, and I'll never leave you on bad terms. And then Allah Azza wa Jal says to Muhammad, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. Now remember, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam felt bad when Jibreel didn't come. It was a hard trial for Muhammad, peace be upon him, at that time. Allah wanted Muhammad to look in an optimistic way to what's happening. There's a duha, there's the brightness of the day. Don't be sad, oh Muhammad. I didn't leave you, I didn't abandon you, Ya Muhammad. And then Allah Azza wa Jal, and that's what we should do, by the way, in this life. Amir is going through some bad. I'm using you each and every time. Alif is going through some hard time because Coles is closing its doors and he has to sit at home. There's no work these days, and money is, and he has to pay his bills. Besides you in your approach being optimistic and speaking about a brighter future, speaking about the good days that's going to come, inshallah, being optimistic in the way you deal with the issue that's happening to Alif, remember always at the end to remind him of the akhirah, of the hereafter. Allah Azza wa Jal is reminding Muhammad, taking him to the other level. Life is short again. Yes, we have to be optimistic in this life, but life is short. The ones that we look at today who are 70 and 80 years old, wallahi, in few years, which is going to pass like the last 30 or 40 years of your life in a second, and you're going to be in the 70s and 80s. That's if you live to your 70s and 80s. And then when one day you're going to follow those who left us and left this life. Life is short, and that's why it's important when someone is going through a calamity, someone is facing a trial in his life, remind him that, man, this life is a test, and the hereafter is definitely better. The Jannah is definitely better. Al-akhirah khayr. The akhirah, the hereafter is better. And not only the akhirah, it has another meaning. The meaning to Muhammad and to each and everyone in this life, that the akhirah means what's coming. So it's translated as the hereafter is better. Not only the hereafter, the akhirah means and what's coming is better than what happened. Be optimistic. Like I look at it this way. Okay, we're going through that economic recession that's happening. The one who used to give me and provide me and look after me when I was naive with no experience at the beginning of my life 15 years ago would definitely look after me today. The one who used to look after me when I was a child will look after me today. وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى means, and what's coming inshallah in this life is going to be better than what has happened in the past in this life. And also it means the other meaning is, the wider meaning is, and the hereafter, which is the akhirah, is going to be better than this life. Allah Azza wa Jal, when He described the difference between this life and the hereafter, and the Jannah, Allah said, it's like someone dipping his finger in the ocean and coming out. What would he come out? What would he take from the ocean? Few drops in his finger. So Allah Azza wa Jal wants to say that what you get from the ocean in your finger, which is 1 or 2 drops out of the big ocean, is really the comparison between this life and its pleasures and everything good and lovely that you see, and between what you're going to meet in the hereafter. That whole dunya that we live in, that whole life that we live in, compared to the akhirah is like the 2 droplets when you compare them to the ocean. It's nothing. the pleasures of this life, the good of this life, whatever you have or get in this life compared to the hereafter is nothing. And that's the game. Why do we stop doing the bad things? Because of the Jannah. I believe in it. And that's why I stop. Why do I look after my kids? The Jannah. Why do I give for the sake of Allah? It's the Jannah. Why do I come to this class? It's the Jannah. Why do I help others? It's the Jannah. Why I'm not selfish and I care about others and share with others what Allah Azza wa Jal has given me? It's the Jannah. My eyes is on the Jannah. And I do understand that the Jannah compared to this life, or paradise compared to this life, is like an ocean compared to two droplets. The comparison is easy. Al-akhiratu khayr. The hereafter is better for you than this life. And also what's going to come in the future is better than what you faced in the past. You have to have this optimistic view. You have to have this optimistic approach to life. What's going to happen, inshallah, is better than what you faced in the past. You're going to pass the trial, whatever it is, and inshallah what's coming is better than what you used to face before. And then Allah Azza wa Jal is giving Muhammad the good news. I'm going to give you. And who's going to give? Allah. Your Lord is going to give you. And Allah used Rabb, not Allah. No, وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ Allah. No. The one who's going to give you is the Rabb. The one who cares, the one who loves, the one who provides, the one who guides, the one who guards, the one who looks after you, is the one who's going to give you. Now imagine that Amir is a generous man. And he's known for his generosity. And they come to me and they say, Amir is going to give you a big present. Oh man, Amir is generous, so that means he's going to give me something big, something great, something nice. Because Amir is generous. Imagine Allah is going to give you. No comparison, guys. Allah is going to give you. And now the second component, not only that Allah is going to give you a Muhammad, and this is very important. In this life, it's an endless. We run in an endless cycle or run or race towards having millions and millions, and it will never stop. And this is life. This is life. Life, if I have one, I want to have two. If I have one pharmacy, I want to have the two. If I have two, I want to have the three. If I have three, I will never give up. I, Ahmed, will never stop. I will never stop unless I die. So in life, you're never content with what's given, with what you have, unless you are with Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is the second component that Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to understand. It's not about how much you get. It's about, are you content with what Allah Azza wa Jal has given you? And that's why one of the great scholars of Islam, he said that the one who's content with what Allah has given him is like the one who owns the whole universe. Again, the one who owns the whole universe, he owns everything. And definitely he's content because he's got everything. There's nothing else that he can acquire or have or own. He's got everything. His hands on everything. So he's definitely content because there's no other thing. There's nothing else left that he can have. So this great scholar, he's saying that the one who's content, even if he's living in a tent in the desert, is on the same level of the one who's got the whole universe. You understand it? It's not about how much. Are you content with what Allah Azza wa Jal has given you? Now remember that everything that you have in this life is from Allah. My partner is given to me by Allah. He said in the Quran, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and among his miracles, أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا, that he has created for you from among yourself your partners. So I for my wife is something that Allah Azza wa Jal has created for her. And she's for me something that Allah has created for me. Am I content with my wife? The way she is? Is she content with me? Am I content with the job that I have? Am I content with the amount of money and wealth that I have? Am I content with the way I was created by Allah Azza wa Jal and the face that He's given me and the skin color that He's given me? Am I content? Am I content with the health that Allah Azza wa Jal has given me? And your health is not limitless. It has a limit. You have a limit in each and everything that you have. Are you content with what Allah Azza wa Jal has given you? If you are content with what Allah Azza wa Jal has given you, then you are like the one who has the whole universe. The thing that's said in this ayah is, it's not about how much you are given. The most important ni'mah and blessing from Allah Azza wa Jal, that you become content with what Allah Azza wa Jal has given you. If you're not content with your partner, your eyes starts to look outside. Your hands start to snake. And your legs start to go around. If you're not content with the money and wealth that Allah has given you, you start to open the drawer and steal. And take what's not meant for you. If you're not content with the health that Allah Azza wa Jal has given you, your health becomes worse. And if you are content with the health that Allah has given you, even if you are sick, your health becomes better and improved. It's all about being content by what Allah Azza wa Jal has given you. In the Akhirah, you're going to be content. Definitely 100% with what Allah Azza wa Jal has given you, because it's the Jannah, it's the paradise. If you think, if you dream of anything, it will come true. It will become. If you ask for anything, it will come. If you dream of any pleasure, it will come in the paradise. Now in the dunya, are you content? The question is, Allah has given you. And Allah has given you some trials in your life, like the missing tiles. Allah has given you. And He's taken something. Some things, maybe. And maybe He's taken nothing. Actually, He's giving you lots of things. Health, wealth, kids and wife and lovely family, everything. He's giving you everything. And this is your test. He's taking from you some things, and this is your test. He's giving you nothing, and this is your test. The best thing that Allah has given you in this life is Islam. The best thing that Allah has given me is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. The best thing, because this is the key for the Jannah and the key for entering the paradise, where you're going to be content 100% with the Prophet, peace be upon him. And then Allah is reminding Muhammad, and this is the way. So a pharmacist called me. This is happening now a lot. One of the pharmacists with us is not going to work because of Corona. She's afraid. I got a call from one of the pharmacists in Queensland, and the guy, what's happening? I left work. I couldn't take it anymore. I can't. What's happening, man? Man, I'm depressed, and yeah, what's happening? Just cool down. What's happening? Why? Okay. He started to speak slowly. Take the precautions. Protect yourself. Protect your family. No one said that you go to the pharmacy in order to be infected. But at the same time, remember, in my street in Auburn, half of the street are sitting at home, forced to sit at home. They can't work anymore. The restaurant where he's working is closed. The business where he's working is not doing as much as it used to do the last years. And Allah Azza wa Jal, man, and Allah has given you the opportunity to work. And people might be jealous, man, that you can still work and you're not working. And Allah has given you one of the noble jobs where you can see that you're helping others, and you leave the pharmacy and go home. And instead of opening the pharmacy and being content with what Allah Azza wa Jal has given you. And I started to remind him by the things that used to happen in the past. Remember when you used to call me 8 years ago and there was no work and you were complaining? Now you have the work and you're rejecting. Remember when you finished your intern with the Brisbane hospital, and after that you stayed at home for 6 months, and how you were depressed and you were about to go, and you started even taking antidepressants, and you were complaining that there's no work. Now you have it and you're rejecting it. When people are in need, you're now leaving them. Allah is reminding Muhammad in the same way. Didn't you one day were an orphan and I looked after you against all the odds of the society that you used to live in? A society where the orphan doesn't get any rights, a society where the orphan is left on the streets, a society where the orphans are sometimes killed, a society where the orphans are not given their inheritance, a society. And I looked after you. Your dad died, your mom looked after you. Your mom died, your grandpa looked after you. Your grandpa died, and then your uncles looked after you. أَلَمْ يَجِدْكَ يَتِيمًا فَآوَى. Muhammad, didn't it happen one day yet that you were an orphan and we looked after you? So Muhammad was in these 6 months was really, and it was really intensive at that time. He was on that, we can say, the borderline of being depressed, which is an anxiety. He was questioning am I worthy of Allah's love? Am I worthy of Allah's prophethood? Am I worthy of... Muhammad, one day you were an orphan and we helped you. Why did you assume that today I'm going to leave you? My history with you, Ya Muhammad, Leem, Amir and Alif, that I looked after you for 40 or 30 years. Why did you assume that today I'm going to leave you and not help you? Why did you assume that? It's a test. Be patient. Keep walking. At the end you will see the light. So Allah is reminding Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, didn't you one day were an orphan and I looked after you and gave you the refuge in the house of your uncle and in the house of your grandfather, and this is not something that they used to do in the society where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to live. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى, and you were lost. Lost in the meaning that he was looking for guidance. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't used to be adal like he wasn't like the ones who he didn't worship any idols. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't do anything bad. He didn't steal or lie or kill or anything. But Muhammad at that time was looking for guidance. And didn't you, in that time where you lost looking for guidance, didn't we help you and give you that guidance and guided you to us, Ya Muhammad? وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى, and he found you poor and made you self-sufficient. And didn't you, Ya Muhammad, one day were poor, an orphan, a poor orphan, and then we looked after you until you are now a grown man, respected by your community, and you are self-sufficient, and Allah Azza wa Jalla has given you everything. Allah is reminding Muhammad, in this time remind people, in the time of anxiety, in the time of depression, remind the people of the blessings of Allah. Sometimes we forget about it. We focus on what's happening. That guy was just focusing on something that happened at work on that day. And he became angry with one of his partners and he left the pharmacy and added to it the fact that he's afraid from corona and added. Remind him the blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal. You are blessed man by Allah Azza wa Jal. Look at 1, 2, 3. You have the beautiful house that you came. I came and visited you, and the beautiful wife, the beautiful kids, the beautiful. Everything is good, and then you complain. Allah has looked after you when you graduated 8 years ago and you were naive with no experience. Why would you assume that Allah Azza wa Jal will let you go now? It's the time to pay, actually. It's the time to return back to the community. وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى, and one day you were poor and we made you self-sufficient, Ya Muhammad, and give you the wealth. And that also means that Allah did aghna Muhammad. Ghina comes from wealth. And if I say Amir is ghani, means Amir is wealthy. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam wasn't poor. Some people think that Muhammad was poor to the extent that he gave his shield to one of the Jews, and it's like they want to make it look like there was a good relationship between Muhammad and the Jews to the extent that he gave his shield to one of the Jews and he gave him money in return so that Muhammad can spend this money on his family and his wives. Man, it doesn't make sense. Imagine Amir, imagine I and Amir. We've been on the same path for 23 years. We know each and every small thing about each other. And then Amir, in a time of crisis, he has to go and give his truck to a Jewish man in order for him to give him money. What would you say about me as a friend? He has the worst friends. Because he was forced into giving the truck. The shield is your pride in that time. What do you think that the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that if the Prophet was poor, would let him or leave him to the extent that he has to give his shield to someone in order to get money? Doesn't make any sense. Muhammad wasn't poor, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's got lots of money, but he used to use it in the right way. That's all the thing. Muhammad was generous. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the man when he was described, يُعْطِي عَطَاءَ مَنْ لَا يَخْشَى الْفَقْرَ. He used to give to the extent that they used to think or believe that he's never afraid of poverty. He gives and gives and gives, and people start to question, Is he not afraid of poverty? Is he not afraid of tomorrow and what might happen in tomorrow? He doesn't save anything for him on the side for tomorrow. Muhammad does not fear poverty. That's what they used to think about the Prophet ﷺ in the way he used to spend his money. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ. Now it's time to return back. Now it's not the time to sit at home or complain. Now the time to repay to the community back, to repay to the people. You, Muhammad, has felt it. You were one day an orphan. You were one day naive. You were one day poor. You were one day in need of help of others. Now, Muhammad, you have to help others. Now, Muhammad, you have to look after the orphans. Because there's lots of harshness at the time towards the orphans where Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to live. You have to stop that, Ya Muhammad. And you have to look after them. And you have to remember that one day, you are the one who would feel it the most. Why? Because one day you were an orphan. You're the one who can feel it most because one day you're not working. You feel the hardship that people are going through. You feel the hardship of others and the pain of others. Why? Because you went through that yutum, that you were an orphan one day and you felt it hard, Ya Muhammad. فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. And means that if anyone asks you for anything, the sa'il is the one who asks you. Ask you for two things usually. Either ask you for knowledge or ask you for money. And Muhammad, peace be upon him, people used to ask him for knowledge and ask for money. Now the problem is, if you are asked for knowledge by a community leader or someone who looks nice, and you might respond in a nice way. And if you ask by someone that you deem or you judge as not worthy of your knowledge, you might not return back. And you might do the inhar, you might repel him. So Allah is ordering Muhammad, do not repel anyone who comes and asks for anything. If you can't help him in a polite way, say I can't help you. But do not repel. Tanhar means, when someone comes and asks for knowledge, it says, go away, I don't want to help you. This is the nahar. This is the meaning of repelling someone who's asking. And the same with money. If you do not have money and you can't help others, just say in a polite way, I can't help you. And if you can't help someone with knowledge, who's seeking knowledge, also do not repel him. Be polite and tell him that you can't. وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And the last is وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Speak about the favors of your Lord. Okay, how do we speak? What does it mean? Firstly, if you do not speak about Allah's favors on you, you're not going to give for the sake of Allah. Means, imagine Ahmed, I'm Ahmed, and all I speak about is business is bad, recession is hitting hard, man, we're not making any money. Do you expect Ahmed to give anything for charity? With this mentality, will Ahmed give? No. Is there any possibility that Ahmed, the guy who's got this negative approach and speaks in a bad way about his situation, would he give anything? No. If I'm speaking, man, I have no time at all, I'm overwhelmed with things and I've got family commitments, would Ahmed give any time for and volunteer? No. If Ahmed is saying, Alhamdulillah, man, Alhamdulillah, I'm still working, Alhamdulillah, I can stand on my feet, Alhamdulillah, Allah has given me the knowledge, Alhamdulillah, Allah has made me, what do you expect? I might give. It doesn't mean that I'm going to give, but I might give. Why? I have this positive approach. So, أَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. And speak about the favors of your Lord, because this is the first step for you in order to give and return back for the sake of Allah. So the first step for anyone, for anybody, to give for the sake of Allah from his time, from his money, from his knowledge, is to speak about the favors of Allah. Because if you do the opposite, definitely you will never give for the sake of Allah. I'll never get, and I used to work in charity, and if I approach someone and he starts speaking about the negative, I know that it's a waste of my time to speak to him. I just leave and go to another businessman, and the other businessman who starts to speak in a good, why up that say I can get more than $20,000 from this businessman. That's my catch for the day. I got it. I'll go back with $20,000 to my charity organization. The first step to give is to speak about Allah's favors. Now, how to speak? Allah does not want you to speak about the specifics. So Allah does not want you to speak about the specifics of the relationship between you and your partner, and go on the Twitter and show everyone that you are in love, and then speak about the love that's between you and what you do with. No, actually this is wrong. Allah does not want Amir to go and speak about the favors of Allah on him and speak that I've got 66,787 and my rent is on, that would cover me for 2 years. Allah does not want you to speak this way. That's actually wrong, completely wrong. Allah wants you to speak in a general way. Alhamdulillah, my relationship with my wife is good. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed me with my sons. No need to brag too much about what they're doing and their achievements at school and in sports, and because that not everyone loves you or loves the good for your kids. Not everyone cares about your kids. Not everyone cares about their achievements. Don't speak too much about what they've achieved, because this might open the doors of jealousy in the people that's listening to what you say. Be general. Alhamdulillah, the kids are okay. Alhamdulillah, they're doing very well at school. That's it. Alhamdulillah, business is doing good, but there's no need to give the details of how much money you've made last year. وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to speak in a good way about the favors of Allah Azza wa Jal. Now the problem is, some of the Muslims, when you ask them, how are you, man? Alhamdulillah. You know Alhamdulillah? You know what's the meaning of Alhamdulillah? All praise to Allah. Alhamdulillah, things are good. But it's now used in the opposite way. It's like, Alhamdulillah, man. Like, man, Alhamdulillah should be said while you're smiling. Alhamdulillah means you are optimistic. It's not the opposite. It's like someone goes to his partner and say, I love you. What's that? What happened to the society? I love you with a smile, man, and a kiss on the cheek. It doesn't come with I love you. That's not the way you say I love you to your partner. So now today, subhanAllah, lots of Muslims, they say, Alhamdulillah. No, it's not Alhamdulillah. This way, it's Alhamdulillah, man. Alhamdulillah. I'm in a good situation. Alhamdulillah, I'm better than lots of other people. Alhamdulillah, man. Well, I'm living in Australia. Alhamdulillah, man. I'm living in this peaceful country, in this free country. Alhamdulillah, I'm living in a place where if I'm sick, I can go to the hospitals. I'm not like others. If they're sick, they die on the streets. Alhamdulillah, I'm standing on my feet. Alhamdulillah, I've got Islam. Alhamdulillah, I've got my partner besides me. Alhamdulillah, there's lots of things in your life that you should speak about. Allah Azza wa Jal wants this tongue. Not only, and by the way, this is the meaning of the thing. It means that not only that the way you look, and not only the perception, and not only the way you think about life and about the future should be optimistic. Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to be in a practical way. Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to spread that sense of optimism that you have. When you speak about Allah's favors, that means you are optimistic and you're spreading that optimism to others. You know, others will be optimistic. Why? The Muslim is not the one who spreads fear. Man, it's going to, no. The Muslim is not that guy who spreads fear and in the community. The Muslim is the one who spreads calmness in the community. Make people calm, not afraid. Make people cautious, yes, but not afraid of what's going to happen in the future. What's in the future, man? The Duhaa is in the future. The brightness of the light, inshallah, is in the future. Be optimistic. And Allah Azza wa Jal has said, أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي. I'll be whatever you think of me. Allah will be whatever you think of Him. Your health will be whatever you think about it. If you think deep that you're going to be sick, you will be sick. Even if you have no corona. And if you believe that you're okay, you will become okay. If you believe that a calamity is going to hit you hard, and this calamity is because Allah hates you, it will happen. And when it happens, you're not going to gain anything, because this surah is all about the fact, or to prove to Muhammad and to say to Muhammad and anyone who follows Muhammad that calamities in Islam doesn't mean that Allah hates you. It actually means that Allah loves you. It actually means that Allah wants to strengthen you. It actually means that Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to be closer to Him. So calamities in Islam, when it hits a believer, for him it means that Allah Azza wa Jal loves him. Allah didn't hate you, Ya Muhammad. And that's why He tested you. Allah loves you, Ya Muhammad. Allah wanted to strengthen you, Ya Muhammad. Allah wants you to grow from that trial or from that test and be stronger, Ya Muhammad. And this is the main thing that we understand from this surah. Be optimistic about the future. Be optimistic about the hereafter and the Jannah and the paradise. Spread that optimism in the life and in the community wherever you live in. If you are hit by a test or a trial from Allah Azza wa Jal, you have to understand that it's not because Allah hates you. It's actually because Allah loves you. It's not because Allah Azza wa Jal wants to break you back or make you drown. No, it's actually because Allah Azza wa Jal wants you to be stronger. If you deal with that calamity, that trial in the right way, believe me, at the end of this recession, at the end of this corona thing, wallahi, you will be stronger. And it will polish each and every one, wherever he is. The leaders, they're going to be polished. Liberals, Labours, the leaders of the community, Islamic community, that's the test. That's the thing that strengthens and polishes the leadership in each and every leader. It polished the leadership of Amir as a head of his family, as a head of the family, and as a leader for his kids. And they look at what Amir is doing. Each and every movement is watched now. If Amir is the guy who goes to the Woolies and get like 10 cans of oil and 20 rice, his son is watching and he's learning. And this calamity would polish Amir and make him a leader in the eyes of his son, or would do the otherwise of the opposite if Amir doesn't deal with that calamity or with this hardship in the right way. So what we're facing today is a hardship, is a trial from Allah Azza wa Jal. That trial, do not think that it's because Allah hates the humanity, Allah wants to destroy the humanity. It's actually because Allah loves us. Allah wants us to return to Him. Keep walking, be optimistic about the future in this life and in the hereafter. Spread that positive view of life, and understand that each and everything that's happening, Allah is with you, Allah is guiding you, Allah is guarding you, Allah loves you in each and every step that you're stepping in this world, even if it's for the dunya. Go back to your families with that optimistic view of life. Spread that optimistic view with your family, with your friends, and with each one that you know, that this is a trial from Allah Azza wa Jal. It's time to prove to Allah. Inna rabbaka labil mirsad. We spoke about it in the last surah. Allah can see each and every movement that we do. It's time to prove to Allah Azza wa Jal we're not selfish. We care about others. We love others. We share with others. Spread these things. Speak about it. Do your best to spread these good values in the community. And Allah, inshallah, will help us in the coming few days. Any questions, dear respected brothers? Because I believe it's 8:95 or 59. 1 minute to 9. Any questions? About Surah Duhaa. One of the most amazing surahs of the Quran. Be optimistic. Even if you are hit with a calamity, with a trial, it's because He loves you. This life is nothing compared to the hereafter. And what's coming is definitely better than what you have faced, what happened in the past. I'm really optimistic about what's going to happen in the future, inshallah.